All right, welcome to the October 7th, 2013 Board of Selectmen meeting. First item on the agenda is the signing of the warrant.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Seconded.
I'll also approve that. That's unanimous. Next is the approval of the September 23rd meeting minutes.
Motion.
Seconded.
I'll vote in favor. That's unanimous. Next, we have citizen participation. Is there anybody here who's not scheduled to talk on a topic? Not seeing anyone. We'll move on to the public hearings and scheduled appointments. First item on the agenda for public hearings and scheduled appointments is the Insurance Advisory Committee and a recommendation for the senior plans. And we welcome the acting town treasurer,
Thank you.
and we'll let you introduce your guest. And
Okay, with me is Barbara Sprogna. You've probably met Brian Boyle. She works with Brian, our healthcare consultant. And
welcome.
Thank you.
she sat in on our September 18th Insurance Advisory Committee meeting, where we went over the renewal for our Medicare plans for our retirees and our 2014 rates, which I've provided. We had bids for our Harvard Pilgrim Medicare Enhanced Plan and our Fallon Senior Plan, which had increases. Harvard Pilgrim came in with a 5.52% increase, and Fallon Senior Plan came in with a just slightly over 10% increase. As I mentioned in the letter, we had a situation this year where our Fallon Senior Plan members were notified by the Reliant Medical Group, which is the old Fallon Clinic, that if they were seeing a Reliant Medical doctor, that they would not be able to see that physician under the Fallon Senior Plan come 2014. So they were going to have an exclusive contract with the Tufts Medicare Preferred Plan in 2014, which for their Medicare Advantage plan. They're going to be able to see anybody that has other Medicare supplement plans, but the Fallon Senior Plan's a Medicare Advantage plan, and they were no longer going to be able to utilize that there. So we, we heard from many members of the Fallon Senior Plan throughout the year. We decided that it would be a good idea to bring in Tufts, and we invited Paula Giakis from Tufts came in and showed us the plan that, would be very similar to the one that we offer our retirees today. And it came in with a very good rate, and the Insurance Advisory Committee thought it would be a good idea to bring on a third option.
And that's the HP Medicare?
That would be the Tufts Medicare Preferred HMO.
Tufts, okay.
It came in at a rate of $261.50, which is actually less than the Fallon Senior Plan is today.
Okay.
It has very similar benefits to the Fallon Senior Plan. The majority of the members on the current Fallon Senior Plan use the Reliant Medical doctors. So we do expect that the majority would switch. If they're on if they see a UMass doctor at Tri-River in Uxbridge or up at UMass itself, they wouldn't be affected, but we only have, from what we know, 3 to 4 members that do that.
So the Insurance Advisory Committee, when they voted to recommend the Tufts Medicare Preferred at a $261 rate, that's actually a substantial reduction over
Yes.
the other programs.
Yes.
So it gives the folks from the Fallon Senior Plan somewhere to go.
They would be able to see their doctors, which was their main concern when
Sure.
they were calling. And I think they'll be pleased to see that they'd actually be able to pay less to do it. I think they were expecting,
Substantial increase.
an increase. When they called throughout the year, came into the office. I had 1 or 2 in the office today. I
Okay.
mean, they started receiving letters in February, and the phone has not stopped, and the visits haven't stopped. They were very concerned about this, as they should be. And, We told them that we would try to do our best for them, but we couldn't guarantee, we would try to get them something that would allow them to see their physicians. We knew that was their greatest concern.
Sure.
We didn't know what we would be able to do price-wise. I never thought it would
Be less, yeah.
be less than what they were paying today, so I think they'll be pleased with this.
Well, why don't we do this, Kelly? Why don't we go to the board members to see if there's any question with the information you provided or the information you spoke to this evening?
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, Kel, why is that? So if they go to Tufts, they're able to see their own physicians, right? And the price is a lot lower. I mean, how does that happen?
Barbara?
Well, Tufts, first of all, has been in this particular line of business, the Medicare Advantage plan, for many, many, many years. They were one of the first to come out with this, so they've got a pretty good track record of negotiating contracts and doing a pretty good job of keeping the costs down. That's one of the reasons, and I think the other one is it's just the whole idea that Fallon is a much smaller organization. You don't have quite the same volumes there. So that's one of the reasons. But Tufts, it's really it's a very competitive company, and they've
And what
done a
about
good
the
job.
hospitals? Can they go to the same type of hospitals?
The only one they can't see is UMass.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the only
Yeah.
one that was not in the
Yeah.
network that we were
Right.
aware of, and that's why, but
And if that's a concern for any retirees, they have the other options. They have the Harvard plan,
Sure.
or they can stay on the
they can
Fallon
stay on the
plan.
Fallon senior
Right.
plan if they want to do so.
So,
Okay.
Okay. And as far as the drugs, does that stay the same? Prescription drugs, does that stay the same?
Yeah, there's a 3-tiered prescription drug
Yeah.
option.
So, the only difference is all plans have different formularies. So what is on, they have tiers 1, 2, and 3 for, as you probably know, for drugs. And every insurance company has, may have some different tiering. Something that is currently on a tier 2 under Fallon may be on a tier 1 with Tufts, but it's usually not anything really significant.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, all of you do it, Barbara and the committee before, now your committee, the people that you have, the union members and all that. So as far as the seniors are concerned, the good majority, vast majority will be okay, right?
Yes,
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 I think they'll be pleased.
yep.
Okay. So it's cheaper,
Mhm.
same doctors, same hospitals except UMass, and in that particular case, there
Mhm.
might be
Right.
a waiver or something?
Well, they still have the option of Harvard. If they need that level of provider, then they can still take the Harvard plan or the,
And the ones on
Yeah.
Fallon senior plan that use UMass doctors right
Can
now could just stay
just
on
keep it. Yeah.
And the Boston hospitals are okay, right? If they wanted to go there, if they had to go there?
Similar to what
Mhm.
they have with Fallon senior right now.
Okay, thank you, that's all.
Brian?
Yeah, it looks like nice work by your committee. Kelly, thank you for picking up this torch and continuing to run with it. It's not an easy aspect of the job, but it's a very significant one. The Tufts looks to be a great benefit because not only is it the least expensive of the 3 offered for this year, it's also less expensive than last year's rates, or I should say, this current year's rates.
Yes.
So it looks like it's a tremendous benefit for seniors to tap into and continue with the medical care that they have. But, just the whole health insurance situation, I mean, again, we're pleased that the Harvard Pilgrim only went up 5.5%. And the Fallon goes up 10%, and it's just so out of whack from what ought to be. And I know the health insurance argument is much larger and broader than what we have to deal with, but, at some point it's gotta stop because it's just such a, economic, depressing aspect on our budget and the economy as a whole. But, in terms of the work that you did, bringing in these rates and also bringing the Tufts on board, I think you did a great job. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I'd agree with the other members, and for all the reasons, also congratulate the committee. Right now, I'd accept a motion to approve the recommendation from the Insurance Advisory Committee to recommend the HP Medicare Enhanced, the rate of $339.19, the Fallon Senior Health Plan at $307, and to include Tufts Medicare Preferred HMO at a rate of $261 effective January 1, 2014.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Seconded.
I'd also vote in favor. That's unanimous. Job well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now we have the next group of folks. Let them enter and next, we have the Tanglewood Drive LLC transfer of retail package wine and malt license. As we wait for the people to enter.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, Chief. How are you?
So before we get to introductions, I'll read some of the information. Information sent to current license holder, Robert Clementi. Milford Board of Selectmen will act on an application for the above referenced license at a meeting scheduled October 7th in room 3. You're expected to be present, and it's asked that any outstanding real estate taxes, which are not applicable in this case, be paid in full. If you're required by state law to provide workers' compensation coverage for your employees, must submit evidence. The next piece that the board has in front of them is something that we typically go out to the various department heads and the chiefs of police and fire to run this by them. And this is what this board has received. From the building commissioner, it's a RB zone, so a pre-existing non-conforming use. The building is not accessible, but conforms as it always has with the old non-conformance. Town planner is okay with the change and no change of actual use. Tax collector indicates there's no outstanding taxes. Town treasurer, no outstanding liens. And the fire department and the police, fire chief and police chief have both weighed in that there are no outstanding issues. The matter before the board is the transfer, and I'll read from that. It's to Pinehurst Enterprises, Inc., and it includes a pledge of license to the lien holder. So with that said, I'll let you introduce yourselves. Bob, how are you this evening?
Thanks, Bill. I'm well. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the board for seeing us this evening as well. It's a little different for me to be here on the sales side and not an acquisition side, but those things happen. So I'd like to introduce Lucy Marks, who will be taking over operation at the Purchase Street Market, hopefully within the next few months. And her attorney is with her this evening, Peter Zaka.
Okay. So I'll let you present what the transfer is planned for and the timing, and also let the applicant talk a little bit about why it is that she chose to get into this business and take on this venture at this time and background.
Yeah, just briefly, as part of a transfer of convenience store with an off-premise liquor license, you know, we need to come before the board for approval, and if that's agreeable with the board, it'll then go to the ABCC for their background checks and so forth, and hopefully that'll happen within the next couple of months. We're trying to get this transfer done before the end of the year if possible. So the liquor license is key to that happening as part of the P&S agreement. We're not going to transfer the ownership until the liquor license is approved, transfer is approved. We also have the lottery license in the same situation, so we're
Okay.
working on that as well.
All right.
So,
Counsel?
Yeah, if I could, thank you very much, especially on a night when there's a Red Sox game. I appreciate you all being here, at least in case you haven't got the update. It was 1-0 when I walked through the door. So, what, has it changed? No, it still is, okay. Now that the important stuff is out of the way. As indicated, this is a transfer of the wine and malt beverage license. We submitted the application. By all accounts, Bob has done a great job in terms of having run the store during his tenure, and therefore we're not really proposing any major changes. In fact, We're gonna sell the same products, have the same hours of operation, which I believe is 6 to 10, 7 days a week.
Right.
We're even gonna, there are currently, I think there's 6 existing employees. It's my client's hope and desire and intent to maintain all 6, 4 or 5 of which I believe are residents of Milford. Keep them on board, and I think they've been there for about an average of 5 years. Just like to add that Lucy is aware of your rules and regulations. What I typically do is print one out and have them initial it to show that they have read that, and I would submit that. Just as a technical matter, I've always taken the policy, if you put an ad in the newspaper, I have to send the abutters notice, so I have that, and I'd ask that that be sent along with the package to the ABCC. As indicated, Lucy is aware of it, especially, the biggest thing here is with the beer and wine license is your, in terms of your rules, she has signed up, and prior to her taking over will be both tip certified and Serve Safe certified, and Serve Safe does both food and liquor, so she'll take part in both of those. Currently, as I understand it, the registers are set up so that if there are any liquor sales, you have to actually put in a date of birth in order to be able to ring that up. That will continue. We are going to, speaking of Red Sox, what I call the Fenway Park rule, which probably takes place now because you need the date of birth, which is that everybody will be asked for an ID. My client is looking into and hopes to bring in a scanning machine, just as a little added protection. And as I basically counsel most of my clients is, the rule of if you look under 35, remember those signs they used to put up, is basically telling your employees, do they look over 21? So this way it's safe. The only one who makes the decision is the actual owner in terms of any type of discretion. And we actually will probably go as far as if they do produce a license under 25, that will be scanned, and generally speaking will be asked for a backup ID. Clearly, the most important thing is keeping the alcohol out of the hands of those who should not have it. In addition to that, Lucy luckily gets to work in the establishment. Right now, her plans are to be there daily, Monday through Friday, from 2 to closing, as well as then on the weekends. So I think we've indicated 60-plus hours. She has family and other employees, but she plans that this is going to be a hands-on store run by her. And that's basically it, other than what is in the application. If you have any questions on, we'll gladly respond to those. Lucy, if you wanted to make a quick...
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time this evening to meet with me. I want to thank Bob. He's been extremely helpful in this process, but very eager to take over. Milford is a small knit community. I already feel comfortable. I want to be friendly. Jean has helped us quite a bit already.
She makes great cookies, by the
Sure,
way.
yeah, good, good. Yeah, so we're looking forward to it. My family, we're all very excited about this new chapter in our lives, and I just hope that to continue the success Purchase Street Market. It's world famous.
It is.
Yeah.
We've known it for a long time.
Yeah.
The community's grown accustomed to it being there and
Yeah.
providing great service and a long tradition. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it, and
Thank you.
I'll just go to the board members to see if they have any questions.
Yeah, Robert, you and Marie have gone a long way. I never forgot a long time ago. when I
Long
bought
way
my
from
first
Clem
fishing
Sporting
pole.
Goods, do you
That's
know, right? I know.
And, so you don't have to change anything, just do the same.
Right,
The way he runs it, do the same thing, you'll be very successful.
thank you.
And we certainly want to wish you the best of luck. And who is this
Appreciate
handsome gentleman?
Actually, I'm the broker. Altogether.
Okay.
I'm very happy to be here.
Sure you are.
I'm not 100% owner, but I'm very happy to help for the friendship that we have built up.
Okay, so Rob, thank you for everything, and they did a great job there, and Lucy, wish you the best of luck and all
Thank
the
you.
support, and, whatever our board can do, and the police chief's behind you, so you already have the rules
Nice
and
to meet you, sir.
regulations. And you've been trained well, so good luck.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Brian?
Yeah, no, congratulations. I wish you the best.
Great.
Just a quick question, when I looked over the application, does this include the transfer of real estate also as part of this deal?
It does.
It does.
Yeah, it's actually, just for technically, it's a separate deal. It's gonna be a Realty Trust is taking that. The corporation that's before you is not, and that's why you have a proposed lease agreement between the...
Yeah, but the transfer of the real estate hasn't occurred yet, has it?
No, one's conditional on the other.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I've never seen it that way, where there's nothing listed for the purchase of the real estate on one of these deals.
Yeah,
So I don't.
yeah, the ABCC may ask for proof that the trust actually will be taking ownership, but otherwise,
But
unless.
they don't have ownership right now.
Correct.
It's only through the P&S.
That's correct.
Yeah, I think that's not usually what I'm used to seeing, but, you know, good luck with everything.
Thank you.
You know, Bob, I'll
Right.
still see you around, but,
Yes, you will.
you know, it's a great market, and I'm sure you'll do well.
Thank you, I appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah.
Bob, just want to wish you a lot of good fortune in whatever you choose to do. It's been a well-run market, and again, as we said, it's a tradition in Milford that people would stop by the Purchase Street Market and grab something on their way to work or on their way home. And so I want to wish you a lot of luck as well.
Thank
So we'll take this in 2 bites. What we'll do is we'll first vote on the transfer of the license.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Seconded.
I'll also approve, that's unanimous. Second, we'll vote on the pledge of the license.
Motion?
Seconded.
I also vote in favor, and that's unanimous. So
Wonderful.
good luck.
Can I just, if I could, Mr. Chairman, could I have Lucy
The
officially,
manager also?
yeah, officially appointed as the manager?
Yeah, we need to vote on that, too.
All right.
Motion?
Let me just identify the manager. I remember seeing it. Who is the manager identified on the
Lucia
application?
Marks.
Okay. So the next motion is to approve Lucia Marks as the manager.
Yeah, motion.
Seconded.
All right, I vote in favor, that's unanimous.
Just
Good
to
luck.
really cover my bases, the Pinehurst is a corporation, be doing business as Purchase Street Market. Technically, you have to vote to allow the business name, and if it ever gets changed, we have to come back before you and actually change the DBA as well.
Let me see, do you have that?
It does, it says that.
I think I checked off I may have added that.
Oh, I see, Pinehurst Enterprises, Inc., business name Purchase Street Market.
Correct,
Keep the same name.
yeah,
So approval of the name as well is separate?
correct.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Seconded.
Is there a second? All right, so Pinehurst Enterprises LLC, I'm sorry, Inc., doing business as Purchase Street Market, and that's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Have a
luck.
great evening.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, Rob.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Good luck.
Good to meet you, good luck.
Good luck. Okay. Good luck to you. We'll see you in the store.
Okay.
Take care.
Next, we have a meeting with Attorney Warren Heller representing Foxwoods CCX regarding special town meeting.
We'll be by.
Was Warren?
Is Warren out there?
Yeah, we had him scheduled 7:30, so, oh, here he comes. He's walking in the door now.
Oh, that clock is slow, huh, Rick?
That clock
Uh-oh,
is-
Back.
jeez,
Time for a new one.
Yeah, that clock is.
I'm over this already.
was working this morning. Wires are fixed. Thank you, chief. Thank you, sir. Brian, did you notice the wires are fixed?
Oh, jeez, yeah, it is, yeah.
Warren, we've already introduced you.
Hello, chief. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Again, Attorney Warren Heller representing Foxwoods CCX. Okay.
Hello.
You recall, you met
Jennifer Gilbert.
Jennifer Gilbert before.
Yes,
Counselor
welcome again.
Bob
Thank you.
Allen.
Good evening.
And I think this is pretty self-explanatory. Do the board members have any question regarding setting of the December 9th, 2013 special town meeting to address the warrant article amending Milford zoning bylaw?
No, I don't, Mr.
All right,
Chairman.
we've had an opportunity to be introduced to this at the last meeting. Brian, any questions or comments?
No, no, it's a very straightforward article, and it's in theme with the process that has been ongoing for a number of months.
All right,
That's on a Monday, right, Mr. Chairman? It's December 9th.
It's a Monday, December 9th.
Yeah.
all right. So with that, I'll take a motion.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Seconded.
I'll vote in favor, that's unanimous. Anything else, Warren? Any new updates on the Red Sox?
Red
Still
Sox-
1-0?
There's still 1-0.
Still 1-0.
Still 1-0.
All right.
And I just thank you for co-sponsoring that board members.
We haven't voted on that yet.
Oh, all right, well, when you do, we also, I just wanted you to be aware, we have approximately a petition that had 400 signatures, so if the board hadn't done that, we would be bringing that in. And we may bring it in at your next meeting
Okay.
anyway, just
Yep.
so you'll have it on record, that at least that number of citizens had requested that you do this.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have National Grid, Verizon.
I guess you're all set.
Yeah, I think you're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
I have to go back and watch the game.
I've got another meeting.
Oh, jeez.
I missed that. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, did we vote to have the matter remanded to the planning board? We all set with that also?
Yeah, it was a motion to support that, setting the
Okay.
date, and,
Remanding the...
yeah, why don't we do this? Why don't we
Just
just
to
take
be
a
safe.
special motion to remand to planning,
Okay,
since we didn't
Motion.
include that in the original?
thank you,
Seconded.
I'll also vote in favor, that's unanimous.
thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're good.
Next, we have notice of public hearing, and I'll read from that public hearing. Notice is hereby given the Milford Board of Selectmen has received the following petition. It's Purchase Street, P30-84, and the plan number is 154-01704. It was received from Massachusetts Electric Company and Verizon New England, Inc. The description, Purchase Street, National Grid to install a push brace, 30-84 on public property behind an existing joint-owned pole 30 to help support existing J0 pole number 30, and will be used to replace a private property P3084 anchor and tree guide to be removed per customer request from our 77 Purchase Street, who is putting an addition on a home. Also, they're requesting further permission to lay and maintain underground lateral cables, wires in the above intersection public ways for the purpose of making connections with such poles and buildings, as each of the said petitioners may desire for distribution purposes. Again, the notice of public hearing is provided that Monday, October 7th, at room 3. Abutters have also been invited to attend this hearing to participate in the discussion if they wish to do so, and that was sent out by this board. So I'll let you introduce yourself. You represent not Verizon, but Mass Electric?
I'm Dana Larson from National Grid.
All right. How you doing, Dana? If
Yeah.
you could walk us through your plan, at least from the perspective of the drawing, because these drawings can be
Okay.
very difficult to navigate.
Coming down Fountain Street, right at the corner of Fountain and Purchase Street, because of all the wires between all the utilities going up Fountain Street, way back when, I think in the 50s, they had to put a pole in this customer number 77's yard with an anchor on it also, just so that pole doesn't start leaning. Right now, he doesn't like that there, and back in the day, we never got easements.
Right.
So, we have to get it out of there.
Okay. You
Yeah.
also have an anchor in a tree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Which I
it's-
know even National Grid frowns upon today.
Yes, we try and get them out as
Sure.
often as possible.
Okay.
So yes, currently, National Grid and Verizon both have a pole back there in this guy's yard. So there are 2 poles and 2 anchors. So to alleviate that, we'd have to put a push brace going up Fountain Street. Because if we try to put a pole closer on his property, I think it would end up being worse because it'd be directly in front of his house and on the corner of Peter's parking lot there.
Yep.
Was a lot of traffic.
Okay.
You know, every day.
All right. Let me go to the board members, see if they have any questions or comments. Dean, any questions?
No,
comments?
Mr. Chairman, I'm fine.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, no, I don't have any questions about this specific proposal, but it is amazing how fast we can get National Grid's attention when they need to know another project like this, because we did get an updated report from them on the removal of double poles, which included the Comcast action plan, less than 30 days from the last report. So, you know, again, it really just kind of reinforces the only time we get National Grid's attention is when they need us for something. So, I mean, I'll certainly support this proposal. I don't want to hold up the homeowner from what they, you know, have to do. But just carry the message back that, you know, the double pole work
Yep.
needs to continue. Because if not, these kinds of requests are going to become more and more unpleasant and unlikely.
Okay. And
Consistent theme, consistent message, and
I've heard
it's
it once or
supported by
twice,
this board.
unfortunately.
Bill, may I say something?
Please.
And also with that at the last meeting, the gentleman that was here, I don't recall his name,
Okay.
I even said, you know, to go back and tell Russell, Mr. Russell, to come in and talk to us about this.
Here he is.
Oh, here he is, okay. Oh, very
Mr.
nice.
Russell,
I don't want to interrupt the board meeting.
Mr. Russell.
See, we speak.
Mr. Russell.
why don't we do this? Why don't we take this in
All
two
right.
separate?
Didn't know that.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's get this report out here now. All right.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
Because it is important. We've been talking about it for a long time, and, you know, it's nice to put a name with a face, and we appreciate it, but thank you very much.
Okay, so we have a public hearing, and so as such, what I'm looking to see, is there anybody out there who wishes to address the board regarding this particular poll removal and change? Is there anybody here that would like to address the board? Okay, not seeing anybody. What I'll do is I'll accept a motion.
Motion.
Brian?
Seconded.
I also vote in favor. That's unanimous. Now, off topic, and we're a little bit ahead, even if the clock is wrong. What we'll do is go right to Mr. Russell. We'll let you introduce yourself, and if you want, you can step off to the side so Mr. Russell can have the microphone.
There you go.
I knew there would be no argument. I'm done.
Bob Russell, I'm a Community and Customer Management Manager.
Okay.
Thank you for having me here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know that I've been working with Lou Solazzi, probably about a year ago, when we know that there was a lot of issues here. I'm about 2.5 years into this position in this area, and between the fire chief, or actually Deputy Chief Toohey, and myself, it came as a bit of a surprise that our records weren't as good at the time as the Fire Chief Toohey's. So we got together on that, knowing that the double poles are a real issue in the town. And we found that we had a lot of missing poles. Part of the reason why this PLM system, which is a software piece that all the utilities use, the fire chief uses, or the fire department, and other utilities, anybody who's attached to the utility pole, is part of this. They have his hands in their software. Not everybody gets the information into the system. Storms will happen. Those poles never quite make it into the system, so it's drifted quite a bit. About a year ago, or a little longer, we really did a full investigation updated our records, so we're kind of almost in lockstep now with the chief's information, or the fire department's information. So when Mr. Villani and I talked about the issues here in town as far as double poles, and it is very important to us too. We all understand that. But we felt that it would be a good idea to get, and Mr. Villani did do this, grab the folks who are most important in this arrangement and who have accountability to double poles. And that would be at a more of a director management level, myself, Ellen Cummings from Verizon, and Frank Foss from Comcast. And we formed a team, and the Deputy Fire Chief, Bill Toohey. So we have a nice team in place. I've not done that before. It's really is kind of, to me, the first of its kind a little bit. So we may carry this on to other municipalities who have the same issues, but we understand how critical it is in this town. And for about a year or so, we've been working very hard, steadily trying to get rid of these poles. And it takes a lot of us to do it at the same time. Every pole has at least 5 or 6 trucks that visit it. After it's set, then it has to be transferred by 4 different entities, and possibly more if there's private entities on there. But then finally, it's if it's clear, then we remove it. And you may see now, we've done a little bit differently. As of the last few months, we're understanding that dig safe, anytime we pull a pole out of the hole, we have to get a dig safe again. So it takes a little more time, but what we've done is we're chopping, you'll see it, we're chopping some of the poles.
I have seen that.
Getting rid of them, and then we'll grab the civil contracting group, and we're able to do contract labor, by the way. I don't think Verizon's able to do that, but we and Comcast have that ability to do that. So we'll be able to contract and pull that pole out. So that's what we've been doing. Tonight, I just drove around to see about the last 6 poles that are double poles to be removed in town. There's a lot of double poles, we know that. There's about 63 right now, or 62. But there's 6 of them in my bowling court, or my company's responsibility to take them out of the ground. And 2 of which are already, there were 8 on the report, absolutely. There's really 2 that are already gone. And I think it's more of a record-keeping issue. There's poles out there we didn't know were already missing, or, pardon me, that are already taken out. So we continually update the record. Okay. I know that the Deputy Fire Chief and I, or the Deputy Fire Chief wants to do a complete investigation from every street, because there may be some double poles in streets that may have been hit during a storm, and we didn't get the records from a foreign crew, perhaps they're from Canada, but they had to put the power in and get those poles up and running. So we may not have got all that record. Those are the kind of onesie-twosies that we kind of miss the ball on. So I'd be glad to answer any questions, because we are really focused. I am, and I'm going to be here. I know Milford. I've been doing every day, or every other day, I'm out in Milford, driving around, making sure this list is as close to up to date, because I know how critical it is for everybody here, especially from a public safety standpoint.
Yeah, I can,
Visual.
before I go to the board members, and just make some personal observations. I can see some progress is being made, and I think progress is proportional to the amount of pushback that this board applies. And that's been unfortunate, because if when the database is supposed to be maintained and we're supposed to get periodic reports, we haven't been receiving those. So there's a few things. At least from this member's perspective, I would expect us, the board, to receive periodic updates, at least on a monthly basis, so that we know its progress. The other thing is, I wouldn't expect the municipality to have better records than the utilities. I'd expect your records and indicating where the double poles are to be maintained. And I think you've started a process to make sure that happens, to make sure there isn't misalignment through this committee that you formed by, through the joint utilities and with the fire department. You know, the third thing is, and I continually bring this up because I'm not clear on National Grid's policy as it relates to what your priorities are. And I would hope that somewhere high in that priority matrix or risk rating that you look at where double poles are blocking line of sight at intersections. Frankly, I don't see that. And I've seen double poles at intersections exist for far too long, where you prioritize other poles to be removed. I'd ask you to put that into your matrix and put that into your risk rating so that you consider that for our drivers, because it's extremely difficult, as you know, with traffic and navigating traffic, to see around these double poles. You know, I've asked repeatedly to get an understanding of how they're prioritized, and I've not received a good answer yet. That's not an answer you need to give me tonight, but I would like to get an answer back to this board to understand how you prioritize and whether risk and safety are the priority in that process. With that said, I'll go to the board members. I know each of them have their own frustration with this topic. But Dino?
Yeah, Mr. Russell, and once again, thank you for the commitment and the sincerity coming in. I mean, you know, when you said who you were, and I was surprised because I didn't think, but that's the first step. And the other thing is, you know, you develop a plan, working with Attorney Valani, and now this work, like this month, next week, I mean, like in the wintertime, can that work still continue, or you have to stop until the spring? How's that
We're
work?
going to continue
Double
throughout.
poles. Oh, you got, yeah?
That's right. I mean, there may be those breaks during storms, that type of thing, but no, it's, in October last year, we have a operations manager who sits right next to me. We didn't have that right there, so he and I work very closely, really focusing on the community issues now. So we didn't have that kind of presence. We've shuffled the deck a little bit in the last few years, but we're bringing it back together again. So we have a good, strong management and operations presence in Hopedale, and he and I work very closely on double poles and other issues, so he's very committed to that. But yeah, as far as there's not going to be a slowdown. I look at this, and this is our Bible, pretty much, to keep going.
So, as a realistic goal or timetable, can we say that, I don't know, so many, 6 months, a year from now, that within reason that most of the double poles will be taken care of?
Right now, it's a joint effort, and I'd like to say yes to that. I know that Comcast has their plan of action discussed here, and we're all dependent upon each other. So I can't commit to removing a pole if there's equipment still on the pole. But I look at this every other day, or every day, and it'll be in a monthly meeting or a monthly basis or bi-weekly or whatever you'd like. We can keep this up. But so I'm always looking at this and keeping very very much on top of this one.
All right, but thank you so much for your
You're very
work, and
welcome.
I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you, Dean. Brian?
Yeah, thank you for coming. And, finally giving some attention to this issue because, I mean, I didn't bring my file with me for the double polls, but I know that the last contact we had was in March 2010, right up until last year, or I should say this year, 2013. So for a period of about 3 years, there was zero contact at all from the utilities, and I think the double polls just proliferated. So, it's something that I expect to be addressed on a periodic basis. I don't expect it to be zero at any given time, but I don't expect it to be 250 either. It has to be progress, it has to be attention. And if it's not, whenever you get one of these requests, I'm not voting for it. It's as simple as that. And, it's the only way we can get National Grid's attention, which is extremely unfortunate.
It is.
It's extremely unfortunate. I don't think that you're good corporate citizens. I don't think that you're helping out the community at all. You only come in here when you have a self-serving petition or issue going forward, and then we see some progress. So if that's the way we have to do things, that's the way we have to do things. And I have no problem doing that. I wish you'd do something different, but that hasn't been the history.
And I'm hoping to change that.
Well, good luck. I'll
Thank
look
you.
forward to it.
So do I.
Okay, as you can see, this has been a long-standing history, and I know there's been, by the way you've represented it, some churn and some organizational changes in National Grid. Unfortunately for you this evening, there hasn't been this churn on that board and this board, and this board has continuously dealt with the same topic over and over through repeated liaisons and people making what we took as good faith representation that they would stay on it and keep us informed, and that didn't happen. So we look forward to a new beginning here, and hopefully this is a start of where we see the progress, because I agree with the board members, and the shame is that we will hold up approval for poll changes where people are trying to put on additions and people are trying to scale their businesses and improve and expand. But hopefully it'll be clear if we're not seeing progress and we're not seeing repetitive and periodic updates that why that is. So we hope that you work well with the utilities and they feel the pain as well, because generally those that feel the pain are going to want to react to it. And if you need to at any given time, if you need a joint meeting between the other people who have obligations on those polls and yourself to be in front of this board, feel free to invite them, or we will. Because I know you're here taking as goalie for the DART team, and so we appreciate that. Do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
No, but I do want to say it is going to be new. I know you've heard it before. I've been around the company for about 24 or 5 years, and I've always been in the customer service side, working with communities. So now that I'm in Milford, I live down the road in Norton. I'm not that far. I drive through this town every day. So I look at the polls. I'd rather look at the road. But no, this is a commitment on my part too. And it's a personal commitment, because I know how frustrating it can be. And when we talk about safety, it's an interesting point. When you mentioned the safety aspect of the polls, that was not something that I had really looked into or heard about, the visual. Usually it's an aesthetic issue, or it's something that's hanging from the sky and it's a chunk of wood, and it's scary to many people.
Yes.
Although these things are very tightly, the reason they're out there is because we replace an unsafe condition with a safe condition. However, the result of that is, like you mentioned, is a visual issue, and you can't see, perhaps. So with that, I'll be talking to the deputy fire chief and see, because I know that he's got some time. It's going to take him probably a week or so to do the review and driving up and down the streets. And I'm going to see if I can partner with him on that effort and see if we can put our eyes on that aspect as well that you mentioned.
And feel free to talk to the police chief who's here this evening, and get a hold of him at your leisure, And because his officers are on the road every day, and they do know where the poles are that are blocking intersections and where there are double poles, and they may be able to give you some insight to that as well if you haven't seen them.
Great suggestion. Thank you very much.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Russell.
Next, we have Town Council Moody with a proposed policy regarding progressive discipline for certain liquor license violations. And we have the chief joining him, or sitting behind him.
Sit next to me is all right, I don't mind. Actually, not to sit.
You may not want to, Jerry.
I may not, so I suggested that seat if he doesn't want to.
Jerry, you provided this board with
Yes.
some good background in explaining what it was that you're proposing, but if you could give us the high-level basic review of that, it
Sure.
would be helpful.
Yeah, the problem came up, of course, doing research on various liquor cases. I began to realize that the ABCC doesn't view what your board, and I'm sure others across the Commonwealth typically do on a first offense as being a resulting first offense that becomes part of progressive discipline. They consider a warning or probation status to be something they won't consider because it wasn't anything appealable to them. So where we might look at something as a second offense, the ABCC is not going to look at it that way. The ABCC also likes to see, it's not required, but for compliance checks, as you know, they require a rather detailed system of guidelines, which the chief and you folks adopted a little while ago. They like that. They also, for purposes of upholding local boards, like to see consistent progressive discipline. Doesn't mean there has to be a policy. But I thought it's worthwhile, in light of all that, to suggest that your board consider whether you want to have a policy that maybe makes it clear that on a first offense that there's a one-day suspension. That way, there'll be no question. That'll be able to be utilized in later proceedings. And then have perhaps another progression of not less than for subsequent offenses. I gave you some suggestions. There's nothing magical about those and nothing cast in stone. The one I'd strongly recommend, but again, it's your board can certainly decide otherwise, is the one-day suspension for a first offense going forward. You may have in the past done a few that way, but more consistently you've done these warnings. But again, to return to the beginning, those warnings aren't going to count as discipline later on. So I think I suggested to you a system of first offense 1 day, maybe 3 days on a second offense within 5 years. So you put some time frame on it. If it's a second offense 7 years later, you wouldn't treat it that way perhaps. But if it's within the 5 years, you'd be looking at 3 days. And and again, I suggested perhaps 5 days for a third offense within a similar period of time, and even up to a fourth offense. And when you get to a fourth offense, at that point, you can also put language in there, and I would suggest revising it. I did a little revision to make it clear that the suspension, whatever it may be, that you would put into the guidelines, could also be subject to termination. You might conclude after 4 strikes within a relatively short period of time that this licensee can't do the job, and you might want to be reserving your right to take that kind of action. So,
And Jerry, just for our benefit, or for my benefit, I'll ask the question. When you're talking about a change such as this, you're talking about moving forward, forward-looking, and so any subsequent offenses that have happened in the past where a warning was given would still have been a warning. Doesn't change. There's nothing retroactive to it.
Yeah,
it's all looking forward.
That's right. Yeah, from now, exactly the way you look at it right now. You'd give, whatever policy you adopt, if any, you give notice to all the licensees, so they're all aware of it and going forward, you'd apply that. So the past is the past, and we deal with that.
Okay, well, certainly all of this is within the scope and authority of the Board of Selectmen to make this change. Is it, I'm just wondering, is there a way that we could structure this, that we could make the change in the adoption of the 1 day for first offense to get that away from a warning and have it be something that the ABCC recognizes without adopting the rest of the policy?
You could. Your policy could be a simple policy that on a first offense, 1 day suspension. You may do nothing else.
Okay.
If you do that, again, that helps in later appeals from my perspective. If you just do that, I think that's progress. And then you can leave it after that to develop on a case-by-case, as you've traditionally done.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that would be my preference, but I'll certainly listen to the board members and see how the board wants to proceed, because I think there's an opportunity to look at this over time. But in any event, I'll look to the board members and see if they have any questions or comments.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. Jerry, thank you for bringing this forward. Matter of fact, I think I've said in the past that, you know, we've been doing this now for a long time. The work that you've done, Chief, the work that this board has done, Jerry. So I think all the establishments out there know what's going on. And so we were getting into the point where every time something happened, someone had a warning. So if you go through the whole town, is what, 60 warnings? And, you know, it's a close-knit organization, and I think the majority of the businesses, you know, run nice establishments. But there are some that I think there's a lot to be desired. So they all know what's going on. So I think by doing that, you know, the first time it happens, a one-day suspension, I think that's the right way to go, and you have strongly recommended that. On the other things, you know, I think it's important for the board to have some flexibility in case something more severe happens. It's good that you say that, you know, we can take other action. But, you know, at first when I looked at this, I was gonna recommend, it's like, you know, 3 to 5 days, or 7 to 10 days, something like that. And on the fourth one, you know, the board has flexibility to take other action besides 14 days. So those are the only comments that I would like to make. And, because I think, you know, we have a situation where everyone knows now what the rules are. I think most people understand that if you do something inappropriately, or a situation where you put people in danger with kids on bicycles, and they're serving intoxicated people that can't even, you know, stand up and walk down steps, that something is gonna happen. And I think the public is, you know, wants that. And I think it's good for us to have these strict guidelines so that, you know, the enforcement is there. Because with some people, you know, you can have all the training you want, whatever, they just never learn. So the main thing is to, you know, take care of that one-day suspension so that it will hold up. And as long as the board has flexibility, so, you know, in the past, we've all had different opinions on things. I think that's good. So I don't think the board should be, you know, nailed down to do, this is what has to be done. So as long as we have some flexibility. But I think on the first one, we definitely should go forward with your recommendation, and your recommendation too, Chief.
Okay, thank you, Dean. Brian?
Yeah, Jerry, I talked to Jerry a little bit today about it. First, I think, you know, we need to clarify the definition of licensee on this. I mean, I think we know what the licensee ought to be, but for example, what just occurred here a little while ago, Purchase Street Market is shifting from one licensee to another. Future boards could have an argument or have an entanglement as to whether or not the new licensee ought to be encumbered with actions of the prior licensee. Even though they are different entities, it's the same property. So I think there should be some language just clarifying the fact that a licensee is in fact a new licensee, new entity regardless of the property. But, you know, as I looked over my...
You mean a true new entity not being responsible for the prior?
Correct.
That's right, a true new
Correct.
entity.
Correct.
As we discussed, if it's just a change within the corporation of ownership, that entity hasn't changed.
Right.
When a transfer-
Right.
Transfer from me to
Right.
you, that's a
Or,
total change.
or even using that deal, you know, using that transaction that we just looked at, if they were purchasing the corporation of the licensee, then that would be the same licensee.
That would be the same licensee,
That would be the
that's
same
correct.
licensee.
That's correct.
So I think that needs to be clarified a little bit,
Do
because
that,
here
yeah.
you've got to change from one licensee to another, but I could see where there could be some confusion. Well, you know, it doesn't matter, it's still Purchase Street Market, and all of a sudden you're off to the races. So, I think that's a little clarification.
Sure.
But, you know, when I looked over the file as I got ready for this stuff, we sent notice back in July of 2010. The Board of Selectmen has determined that going forward, there will no longer be a routine warning for an alcohol-related first offense. Depending upon the circumstances, suspensions may be imposed for a first offense, and even more significant suspensions will be imposed for repeat offenses.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess it's, you know, shaped up that way, that there have been a number of warnings on these quote-unquote sting operations. But, you know, we haven't locked into that.
No.
And, I mean...
But what you've done since that time,
Yeah.
generally, on a first offense, you've just done a warning, and that's just the reality.
Right.
So your de facto
Right.
policy really has been, you've reserved the right to do more, but consistently on a first offense, all you've done is a warning.
And to me, you know, because I mean, as I looked over, you know, some of these other memos, over time, and I know the chief, changed the guidelines again, but, it was pretty clear that these compliance checks are viewed, I think, by the ABCC more to be educational as opposed to disciplinary.
They put that
So,
in more than a few of their decisions, yes.
you know,
that
I mean,
they-
I'm looking back, you wrote to us in May
Right.
2011, spelling that out.
Right.
Even your memo in July of this year regarding the Peters Market, it was all about, so from my perspective, on these compliance checks, I kind of looked at that intent, and, absent any extreme circumstances with the license holder, I feel, they deserve the benefit of the doubt, at least, one bite at the apple on a compliance check. So I don't know that I necessarily feel the need to, hit somebody with a one-day suspension for a first-time compliance check violation.
Okay. Yeah, I understand the challenge that you have in front of you. Typically, I'm not in favor of locking down a board because there are so many different compounding issues.
Sure.
But, I could support a one-day policy and removing any doubt in anybody's mind that a warning might be issued. Especially if that gives you and future boards, and future councils for that matter, better argument with ABCC. We still have latitude with subsequent violations.
Yeah, it would do that, obviously. It would strengthen the later case when there has been a second offense or a different kind of offense. Maybe there's been a warning given, and later there's not a compliance check violation, but another kind of violation. And we try to say it's a second offense, but it really isn't, because the first one couldn't count. So it would do that, number one, and it would also prevent later arguments that, if you've done 5 warnings in a row and then suddenly you do a one-day suspension with somebody, you're always going to face arguments of discriminatory treatment or,
Sure.
Or politics or something
People will
else. So it
claim
would-
a lot of things, right?
A simple policy like that would eliminate that issue for all time.
Okay. So I'd entertain a motion to,
I can understand what Brian's saying, and also I can understand your point of view, Jerry, because I think you have tried to be consistent on this particular issue for, over a year now, so I can see that. But as far as everything, anything else, I think, as long as we have flexibility and we, as far as the question that Brian had regarding the different type of licensees and
Yeah,
all
we
that,
can
if
clarify
get
that with some
straightened out, but
definitions in there.
I'd be willing to support the first one as you have recommended.
so policy change, letting them know that, that first offenses will receive a one-day suspension. And notification to the license holders? within
What I'll
that.
do, if you want, is I'll redraft it into, if that's going to be the vote, to that fashion, and consistent with what Brian said, I'll develop some language to clarify the ownership change issues,
Okay.
too. Then that you can have a final draft to look at, and if you're satisfied with that, then you can have the town administrator send it out to all the licensees.
Okay, so we'll wait for that.
Yeah,
Okay,
makes
so,
sense.
there's a motion, is there a motion to
Yes.
support that? Okay. Is there a second? Okay, not hearing a second, I'll second that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's 2 in favor, 1 opposed. And I think that's as far as the board wants to go this evening with regard to a policy giving details.
Sure,
Okay?
that's fine.
All right, you're gonna stick around?
Yeah, did you want to talk about that WICA while I'm sitting here?
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Yeah.
We're gonna hold off on the town administrator's report, and we're gonna go to old business while Jerry's here, the approval notice for voters, special elections, Foxwood. Jerry, I've had an opportunity to look at this, and you had mentioned at the last discussion when we had this in a meeting that there was, it's pretty much established by statute exactly what the requirement
By
is.
regulation, yeah.
Can you help me with an article being jointly sponsored by the developer and this board? Because I'm guessing that's not necessarily defined by statute.
No, you're talking about the letter that's gonna go from Rick, that's one thing. You did the zoning, which I thought you did, I wasn't here, but the zoning,
We already voted on that.
Right, we already
so that
voted.
was, and that was gonna be jointly sponsored by the board, and by Foxwoods. The letter is a letter that'll go from the town administrator on your behalf. It's required by the regulation if you're gonna have the election before the determination of suitability, on the one hand, and it's also satisfies the requirement of, so that has to be sent to every registered voter in town.
Okay.
And that's been, again, drafted by Shefsky and Freilich, I've reviewed it, and the Gaming Commission has reviewed it and approved it too. So that's ready to go, and we're attaching the summary, which also we're required to send out to every voter. It's already been published in the Daily News.
Yeah, I
It's gonna
saw
be
that.
published in the Crier, but we also have to send it out to everybody. So those two things together, that doesn't relate to the zoning, that relates to that question
Okay.
of the suitability and the election.
All right. So is there a motion to approve that language and notice to the Milford voters?
Motion.
And the motion is for sending the town administrator's letter, correct?
To authorize
Yes.
the town
Yes.
administrator to send the letter, yes.
Okay, that's fine, yeah, I'll be glad to second that.
All right, that's unanimous. Jerry, anything else?
The other is that, the letter I gave you on that, what's called that WICA, that Water Infrastructure and Conservation.
Yes.
Did you get that?
Yes.
Yeah.
You did, okay.
Yeah.
Again, what I was looking for on that was just for you to review it and your authorization, if you see fit, for me to express the board's opposition to that to the legislative committee that's going to be hearing that in November.
I thought you already sent that out.
No, I was
Oh,
looking
okay.
for your, I didn't want to send it out saying the board is unanimously against it unless I know the board is unanimously against it, so.
I think you're going to know that in about 2 seconds.
Motion
Is there a motion?
that we support the letter.
I might have guessed that, but I didn't take a
I'll
chance.
also vote in
I'll
favor,
second
and
it.
Yeah.
we appreciate it, Representative
Yeah, it was
Fernandez
good catch on his part.
making us aware of that. That's good, and that specifically, they look to create a approval light process that allowed utilities to increase rates without the full hearing and
That's
the full
right.
participation of the community
Every once in a
and
while,
interveners.
he does a good thing.
He does.
Represents, you know.
He's done a good job.
I put those in the minutes. Jim.
Okay,
All right,
so that's unanimous, and that's a vote.
Good.
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. The next one is Town Administrator's Report. We'll go back to you, Rick.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just briefly, I have been informed by the town engineer that the final walkthrough on the Route 16 and 109 Mass DOT Signal Improvement Project was conducted. As you know, the project began just west of the intersection of Route 16 and 109 and extended to the intersection of Main and Water Street. Improvements included sidewalk repairs, upgrades to comply with ADA requirements, reconfiguration of the lanes at the intersections to reduce traffic backups, installation of new signals, loop detectors, and signal improvement, timing improvements. So that is now complete.
Okay.
Also, another completed project is the police roof. That work is finally concluded. The final walkthrough was done, punch list prepared. I guess it held up pretty good through the rain these past few days.
Good sign.
And the final thing, I did give you a memo regarding the town hall windows. Bids for the town hall windows repair and restoration were opened on September 18th. We did receive 2 bids. The memo recommends the contract be awarded to the low bidder, GVW Inc., for the sum of $283,900. All required bonds and certifications were submitted with their bid package, including the DCAM, Division of Capital Asset Management Update Statement. Both town engineer Vonnie Reese and the town's historical consultant Max Furrow both recommend awarding the contract to GVW Inc., as I do, so I'd ask the board for a formal vote to so award that contract.
Okay, if the press is inquisitive about why that wasn't included, we received that tonight. We just received that bid package.
That's an add-on, thank
Okay,
you.
so that's the lowest,
That is the lower of the 2 bids, correct.
okay?
Motion, Bill?
Yes, please.
Motion.
Seconded.
I'll also vote in favor to approve GVW Inc. as the winning bidder at a amount of $283,000 and $283,900. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's unanimous.
And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank
Okay,
you.
and we appreciate the work that you've done to get that town hall window restoration, as well as Vonnie Reese's participation. All right. Anything else, Rick?
No, that's all I have on my report. Thank you.
Okay, before I jump forward, any questions for the town administrator on any of the other town administrator's report issues?
No,
Comments?
I'm okay, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Brian?
No,
Okay.
nothing.
Going back to old business, do the members have anything for old business?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Brian?
No, no.
Okay. Under new business?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I'm looking for the members to vote on the articles for special town meeting. Item
I'm sorry.
E2 under old business.
Yeah.
Thank you. I provided a list of the 9 articles that will be sponsored by your board.
Why don't we do this for the benefit of the board, so that there's no confusion? Why don't we just go ahead and take appointment of the town treasurer and bring that up for discussion? I think it's a 20-second discussion. I'll take a motion on that separately. Item number 12, appointment of town treasurer.
What do you want, Bill, a motion?
Just a motion separately, then we can bunch some
Motion.
others. Is there a second?
What are we exactly doing at this
Well,
point?
voting to, well, I'm looking to see if there's support from the Board of Selectmen on various Board of Selectmen articles. I wanted to pull out one that I had question about in the past, just so there wasn't, so there's clarity.
Yeah, but didn't we already do this? I mean, these articles wouldn't be on the warrant if we didn't support them.
Yeah.
Have we already taken this action?
I don't think you took a formal vote,
No, we
that's
did
all.
not. We voted to approve the warrant, but we did not vote, as we would traditionally do, in support of various articles on the warrant.
All right, so now you're not looking for approval of the articles because we did that when we approved the warrant.
Exactly.
What you're looking to do to see whether or not the Board of Selectmen is gonna make a favorable recommendation on any of these articles.
That's correct.
Correct,
Okay.
correct, thank you.
So the motion is what?
I think the motion by Dean was in support of Article 12, the appointment of town treasurer.
A favorable recommendation on Article 12?
Mhm.
I'll second that.
All right. And I continue to remain opposed to that because that essentially removes it from being elected by the voters of Milford. Okay, now for the balance of the remaining 8 articles for the selectmen, I'll take a motion to recommend favorable.
Motion?
And this is on all the
One-
remaining articles?
Article 1, 2, 3, 15, 16, 17, 9, and 23, the Board of Selectmen's articles.
Seconded.
Okay, so that's a motion and a second. I also vote in favor for those articles. That's unanimous. Are there other articles that the board would like to bring up now, members would like to bring up now to indicate support for? I can make a recommendation, and I don't know where the board feels, but, how the board feels about it, but it would seem appropriate to support the police and fire chief's articles, if they're so inclined.
Sure. Motion.
Seconded.
All right, I'd also vote in favor, and that's unanimous. Any other articles that the board members would like to bring up at this time?
Mr. Chairman, Jerry, can I just ask a question about we're talking about the articles, the supplement, the water rate case, $2,000?
Right.
Is that the exact number, 2,000?
No, it's a little bit less than that, but
Oh.
the actual number, the outstanding bill is about,
Okay.
I'd say, 1,800 and change.
All right.
So,
Okay, motion
Is
on
there a
that.
motion to support Article 10?
Seconded.
I'd also vote in favor, that's unanimous.
If I may ask, Brian, on the youth center, what was the final,
I think we'll be passing over that article.
what they're gonna
and-
put the money in a,
And the
account?
FinCom has proposed to place that amount of money in the capital project stabilization account. So I just had a meeting tonight, 5 o'clock, with the Army Renovation Committee, and they voted unanimously to approve that action.
Okay, is there anything else?
No,
all right.
yeah.
Next item on the agenda for new business. We have St. Mary's Assumption Church, 27 Pearl Street. They're looking for, let me see if I understand this, a one-day liquor license, October 12th, 2013, 6 p.m. to midnight, Parish Hall of St. Mary's, and the activities, community dinners
Motion,
and
Mr.
music.
Chairman.
Seconded.
I'd also vote in favor, that's unanimous. Next, we have the Alliance for Cultural Portuguese, 7 Bear Hill Road. Maria Blanca is the applicant. It's, again, a one-day liquor license for November 9th, 2013, 6 p.m. to midnight, again at the St. Mary's Church.
Motion.
Seconded.
I'll also vote in favor, that's unanimous. Next, we have correspondence.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, just one add-on there.
Yes.
The scouting
Oh.
for food drive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I put that on F3 and didn't put it in the right place. Thank you.
No problem.
Next, we have a letter from Kathy Mahoney at 3 Dogwood Lane, looking, as a scouting coordinator, looking to use the municipal lot next to the food pantry Sunday, November 3rd, 2013, from 11 p.m. to 5 p.m. To do a food drive.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Seconded.
I also vote in favor. That's unanimous. Next, we have a resignation from the Milford Renewable Energy Advisory Committee. Tom Jaworek has unfortunately resigned for personal reasons.
Motion.
Motion to approve that resignation with regret.
Seconded.
I also vote in favor. That's unanimous. With regard to other correspondence, we received correspondence from Town Administrator Valani regarding 5-year capital project plan. And what I'm thinking, Rick, is to get that on an agenda so that the board can talk about that and review some of the rationale. I know it's being presented to various boards. It wasn't in the packet, but it was something that we had received correspondence on.
Correct.
I'm thinking early December timeframe.
Okay.
If that works for you, if you just put that in your schedule.
Sure, that'll be fine.
The board can, look at that, weigh in on it, comment on it, and if there's any rationales that you think need to be gathered for that, take the time to do that.
We can
then.
put that together. Yes,
Very
thank
good.
you. Okay, thank you.
That's all the issues or comments that, or that's all the scheduled activities that this board has. Is there other correspondence that the members would like to bring up or discuss at this time?
No, I'm okay. I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Dean, Brian?
No, I'm all set, thank you.
All right, with that, there's no executive session tonight, so I'll accept a motion to
Motion,
adjourn.
Mr. Chairman.
Seconded.
All right, that's unanimous. Good evening, and thank you very much.